Hello, my darlings. Today's story is Cinderella. Let's see what happens. Once upon a time, in a faraway land, there lived a beautiful young girl named Cinderella. Cinderella was loving and kind, and she was adored by everyone. Everyone, that is, except her cruel stepmother and two mean stepsisters. They treated Cinderella like a servant. Clean the kitchen, fix the breakfast, bring me my tea. Cinderella never had a moment to herself. She filled the teapots, grabbed the teacups and scooped up the trays. Balancing everything on her hands and head, she hurried up the stairs. Lucifer the cat chased after Cinderella. He was always up to no good, and this morning was no different. He had caught a mouse and hidden it under one of the teacups. But which one? Eek! Shrieked Anastasia. A mouse! She ran out of her room in her nightdress, pointing at Cinderella. Anastasia and Drizella thought Cinderella had put the mouse there. Cinderella's stepmother was angry and called Cinderella into her dark room. You have time for practical jokes? Maybe you need more work to do. So the stepmother gave Cinderella more chores than ever. Look at all those things she's got to balance. Cinderella was scrubbing the floors when she heard a knock at the door. A messenger for the king delivered an invitation. Every maiden in the kingdom was to come to the prince's ball. Cinderella ran to her room. In an old trunk she found a pink dress that had belonged to her mother. If she added ribbon and changed the sleeves, she thought it would be perfect. The stepsisters kept Cinderella so busy she had no time to fix her dress. Inside her room, Cinderella's friends, the mice and birds, had a surprise for her. They had fixed her mother's old dress. Cinderella thanked them and hugged the gown. Now she could go to the ball. When Cinderella went downstairs dressed for the ball, her stepsisters were furious. "That's mine!" shouted Anastasia, tugging on Cinderella's bead necklace. "And that's mine!" said Drizella, tearing off a sash. Before she could stop them, the stepsisters had ruined Cinderella's new dress. Look. They were never taught sharing is caring. Cinderella ran to the garden crying. She wanted to see the royal palace and meet the prince, but that will never happen now, she sobbed. "Not hopeless," said a voice. "Dry your eyes, my child." Cinderella looked up. There sat her fairy godmother, surrounded by a swirl of sparkles like magical fireflies. The fairy godmother waved her magic wand and turned a bright orange pumpkin into a delicate coach. Then she spotted Cinderella's friends, the mice, and waved her wand again. Poof! She turned them into 4 white horses. "Now you're ready for the ball," she said. Cinderella didn't want to seem ungrateful, but she needed a gown to wear too. The fairy godmother looked at her tattered dress and agreed. "Oh my, you can't go wearing that," she said. With a wave of her wand, Cinderella's dress was transformed into a beautiful gown with sparkly glass slippers underneath. She told Cinderella to enjoy the ball, but remember, she said, the spell will be broken at midnight. There's her carriage. Cinderella arrived at the palace and climbed the sweeping staircase to the ballroom. Everyone's eyes turned towards the doorway and the beautiful girl standing there. "Who is she?" they asked. The prince took one look at Cinderella and fell in love. He held out his hands and they danced the whole night. Cinderella thought the prince was handsome and kind, and she fell in love too. She was having so much fun, she forgot about the time. She could have danced with him all night long. Suddenly the clock struck midnight. Cinderella dashed toward the staircase. She had to get home. "But wait!" cried the prince. "I don't know your name." Cinderella raced down the stairs. She was in such a hurry to get away, she left one of her glass slippers on the staircase. Swallowed an air bubble. She jumped into the coach, and the horses ran as fast as they could. As the clock sounded the 12th toll, dong, dong, poof! The coach turned back into a pumpkin. It bounced along the road as poof, poof, the horses turned back into mice, and Cinderella's gown turned back into her old rags. Cinderella and her friends sat by the side of the road. The prince's guard raced by on horseback, squashing the orange pumpkin. All Cinderella had left of her magical night was the other glass slipper. The prince had to find the woman from the ball. He ordered the Grand Duke to search the kingdom for the girl whose foot fit the glass slipper. The prince would marry that woman. Cinderella's stepmother heard the news and ran to tell her daughters. There was still a chance one of them could marry the prince. The Grand Duke arrived at Cinderella's house. Anastasia sat down and tried on the glass slipper. She tugged and pulled, but the slipper would not fit. She pinched and pushed, but the slipper still wouldn't fit. "Let me try," said Drizella. She tugged and pulled and pinched and pushed, but the slipper would not fit either. As the Grand Duke turned to leave, he asked if there were any other ladies at home. "No, just my daughters," answered the stepmother. She had locked Cinderella in her room. At the last moment, Cinderella's friends, the mice, slipped her the key. Cinderella unlocked the door and raced downstairs, but the stepmother tripped the Duke. The slipper sailed through the air before finally shattering on the floor. "It's all right," said Cinderella. "I have the other one right here." Cinderella pulled the glass slipper from her pocket and tried it on. It was a perfect fit. "It fits!" gasped the stepmother. "It fits!" shrieked the stepsisters. "It fits!" sighed the Grand Duke. Cinderella and the Grand Duke raced back to the castle. The prince was overjoyed to see the maiden he'd fallen in love with. He proposed to Cinderella on the spot. She accepted, and they were married that day. Church bells rang throughout the kingdom for Cinderella and the prince's wedding. Everyone cheered as they ran down the staircase. Cinderella was so excited she didn't even notice that she'd left something behind. It was one of her glass wedding slippers. Cinderella slipped it back on and jumped into the coach with the prince. They waved goodbye to their friends, the mice. Cinderella was happy knowing that this time there was no magical spell to be broken. I hope you enjoyed that story and that whatever you have done on this fantastic Saturday, you've had fun. Tomorrow, our story is Beauty and the Beast. So we're going to France. Ooh la la. Until then, enjoy the rest of your day and I will see you soon. Bye, my darlings.